Do you think then women misunderstand what high value truly is?
I think the social media misunderstands what high value is. Social media measures high value by just having money. But truly high value is in ensuring that you give, not only do you have a lifestyle that is high value, but you also create an emotional connection that is high value. You create a sense of safety, loyalty, and trust that's also high value, hard to achieve. But if it's just like, oh, he's really rich, but she's cheating, he's cheating, it's a messy environment, what's high value about that? But the submission comes from us seeing that you are a natural leader. And how we know you're a great leader is you make good decisions for you, me, and both of us long term. You make good decisions for us. But if you don't, if you're not a good decision maker, if you're not a good problem solver, if you are not, you have no self-control, how can we just trust your leadership? So have that self-control, have that, problem-solving mentality. And as a result, we will naturally let you lead. But just leading because you're the man won't work. Yeah, it will just make you insufferable.
Forgiveness is saying this relationship means more to me than my pride or my ego. I love you. I want to make this work, and I'm going to be a big enough man to make this work in spite of this. And that makes him the bigger person. It doesn't make him emasculate. It doesn't. He's not. You're framing forgiveness as he's emasculated himself by forgiving her, and she can never get over that moment of him emasculating himself.
I believe that very, very strongly, and the reason being is that the relationship should mean loads to you, but part of you should understand, for her to do this, we don't see the relationship in the same light. Your inability to understand the importance of reciprocity is what makes you less masculine. It's not a case of forgive me all day, every day. But for me to step out on you means that this relationship means something different in your eyes than it does in my eyes.
What do you see as the relationship between self-esteem and relationships?
So without self-esteem, not only will you not be able to receive love, but you don't give it correctly. The thing is, like, people with low self-esteem tend not to receive love very well. We know that. But they also don't give it very well. And the reason why they don't give it is their love is coming from an empty hole in them. So they'll give love to the person that can fill that hole. If they are somebody who's not financially stable, they'll love the person who financially stabilizes them. If they're not somebody who's attractive, they'll love the person that makes them feel attractive. If there's somebody who's not confident in their sexual skills, they'll attach to the person who makes them feel like they are. They're coming from a place of egoism, and as a result, when that person stops feeding that egoism, their low self-esteem is not enough to keep them happy, so they lash out. So it's very difficult to form any kind of long-lasting relationship, and I've learned this the hard way myself, without self-esteem, because you accept the unacceptable and you seek sometimes the unacceptable, and you can't maintain relationships because you don't have the source of self-love to maintain it. Yeah. Welcome to my course on masculinity. And in this course, not only will I be able to completely transform your understanding of women, but on a more personal level, you will enhance your self-esteem, self-respect, and your boundaries. The goal of this course is to take a man that has absolutely fantastic intentions, wants to find love, wants to commit, wants to have a good, healthy relationship, but is finding that he's constantly running into women who are narcissistic, who are disrespectful, who are disloyal. Now, if you are finding that continuously, then there must be something in your engagement with women that is causing this. What my course will do is look at where this problem comes from, how to resolve it, how to communicate effectively with men and women, and how to command respect. Most importantly, how to improve your self-respect. And throughout the course, you'll be given interactive sessions, but with course materials to help you channel and journal your learning. So if you are interested in becoming the most masculine version of yourself, join today. Okay. It'd be to treat women well. And I'll tell you why. When you treat women well, they become better human beings. When you see that broken woman that's horrible, horrendous, cruel, cheating, there's a man that's hurt her, maybe her father, it might be a partner, somebody's hurt her. And what happens when men don't treat women well? We create a society of soulless women. We create a bunch of women who are just egotistical, narcissistic, they are hyper-independent, they lose their kindness. But when you take women who are loved by a man, whether it's a father, a brother, a partner, when she's loved by a man, she's the kindest, softest, sweetest woman. So if you want to create a legacy and an environment where you change this kind of woman, treat them with love and respect. But I think a lot of people are in denial about their true values. And what I mean by your values is, what do you invest most of your energy in, and what is your behavior telling you? So some men will come to me and say, I want a really good woman. I really want a good woman. I want to settle down. But they're paying for escorts, and that's who they're primarily dating. And they're falling in love with these escorts, and, you know, they're being played. And I said, but that's your values are, you have to look at your behavior. Do an inventory of your behavior and ask yourself, what am I actually rewarding the most in the opposite gender? Who am I rewarding the most? Am I rewarding the person who's kindest to me, who's the most loving to me, who's the most soothing to me? Or am I rewarding somebody who makes me feel unseen, who makes me feel unworthy, or somebody who I just find super attractive, someone who gives me money? What am I actually rewarding? Who am I actually spending most of my time with? They don't realize that when you're constantly seeing really beautiful airbrushed women all day, every day, and then you're Googling what they look like naked, and you're being able to subscribe to that, they don't realize that that is severing away at your ability to connect to a woman on your actual level. Like, there'll be men who are, you know, super overweight, super old, might be from a different culture, but they're Googling their dream woman and thinking they deserve them. They think simply because they've seen it, they deserve it. Same thing with women. They'll be watching couple content where a man buys a woman a bag for Christmas and for Valentine's Day and decorate, and they think because they've seen it, they deserve it. So we have to really undo the conditioning, which is difficult to do.
It almost just sounds like people should get offline.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, how do we counteract online behavior?
Yeah.
We just simply can't. And I say this from a privileged position. I didn't grow up with Tinder and Instagram and stuff. I didn't grow up with that. And so when you are grown up with Snapchat, you've grown up with Instagram, like they start at 10, 11 years old. How do we uncondition that young mind? So I think I'm speaking from it sounds like a high horse, but I've actually just escaped that part of life. But if I was 10 years younger, if I was 21, 22 years old, there would be no way I would think any differently to what the young people are thinking now.
My wife and I, we met each other like a month before Tinder came out, and we joked that we like...
Really? You just met before?
Just got in.
So it would have been 2012. 12. Oh, is that when Tinder came out? 2012?
I think so.
Yeah,
it was like a month or two before I heard
wow,
it.
you just missed it.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, thank God,
thank
right?
goodness.
But it's funny though, because like a conversation I often have with people who come to me who are single and frustrated, I think everything you're saying is true. I also think the nature of the dating apps is that, you have to set filters for yourself, and you have to define like what you're looking for and what you're not looking for. And I just think that most of the things that if you ask somebody, what are you looking for in a partner? The most immediate answers are probably the wrong ones.
Mm-hmm. But falling in love with potential is really, really setting yourself up for failure. It's better to just accept them for who they truly are, rather than going into denial of who they've shown you who they are.
It can be a painful realization to see how you've been loving the perception you have of your partner versus actually connecting and loving with who they actually are in their core.
Look, here's the thing. It's really soul destroying when you have this false perception of your partner and you find out they've got a whole secret life behind your back, and you can't believe they've duped you into this, and you can't believe they've hurt you like this. But I would say that when you fall in love with your potential imagination, the person that hurts you doesn't feel much guilt. And the reason why they don't feel much guilt is because they feel like you didn't take the time to get to know the real me. You didn't fall in love with the real me. You fell in love with your own imagination. And therefore, I don't feel that guilty about hurting you, because you think you fell in love with your own imagination. I know guys that will spend £2,000-3,000 on a table, but their mum hasn't got a car.
What?
Like they could easily,
Are you serious?
Honestly, and their mum is taking the bus, and I'm just thinking, think about that. There's a girl that's coming on your table that will never speak to you again, is going home with another man, and you're prepared to spend more money on that experience. But when your mum's birthday is coming up, you're thinking, oh, mum, that's a bit expensive.
Is this the same psychological framework that is like where you see the guy with the sports car on the council estate driveway?
Yeah.
Is that the same mentality you're talking about?
Here's the thing. When we grow up feeling inadequate financially, we need big gestures. Like I was saying, in anything, wherever you feel inadequate, you need big gestures. Always. So if you felt like overweight, unattractive when you were young, when you finally get slim, you want to open Instagram and an OnlyFans. When you grew up without money, you want a McLaren and you want a Lamborghini because you need to show people I made it. Now, true fulfillment comes when you don't need external validation. It's hard to do, by the way. That's not something that should just happen. It's very difficult, especially when you've just got in shape. Of course you want to show it to the world. But true fulfillment comes when you don't require external validation. You use that strength to just kind of create your own little circle of people that you love.
I love that. And if there's one piece of advice that you've wanted to give this year to the whole world, right? That you've wanted to give it to the whole world, but no one's asked you the question for you to be able to give it to the whole world. What question haven't I asked you that you want to give the answer to?
Oh, what a fantastic question. If I could give one piece of advice to anybody and everybody, it would be, I would say that the one thing you make decisions today that you won't regret in 10 years. Try and do them. Try and live a life where you don't regret your decisions. And people will say there's no such thing as regrets, there's no regrets. But I say there's no such thing as a good, bad decision. When you make one bad decision, it's followed by 1,000 other bad decisions. And when you make one good decision, all good choices come as a natural consequence. So what I would say is have a look at your decision making and don't think, oh, there's no YOLO, forget it. It's okay. Short term, short term, short term. Think about it in the long term, because I promise you, one bad decision is 100 bad decisions. Think about them carefully before you indulge in them.
If there's one final piece of advice you could give for all the men that are listening to this podcast, right? If you had to leave the world tomorrow, you're checking out, and you've just got to leave men with one piece of golden wisdom that they can implement in their life today that's going to move them forward in their dating life, from a psychological point of view, what would it be?
It'd be to treat women well. So welcome to my course on masculinity. And in this course, not only will I be able to completely transform your understanding of women, but on a more personal level, you will enhance your self-esteem, self-respect, and your boundaries. The goal of this course is to take a man that has absolutely fantastic intentions, wants to find love, wants to commit, wants to have a good, healthy relationship, but is finding that he's constantly running into women who are narcissistic, who are disrespectful, who are disloyal. Now, if you are finding that continuously, then there must be something in your engagement with women that is causing this. What my course will do is look at where this problem comes from, how to resolve it, how to communicate effectively with men and women, and how to command respect. Most importantly, how to improve your self-respect. And throughout the course, you'll be given interactive sessions, but with course materials to help you channel and journal your learning. So if you are interested in becoming the most masculine version of yourself, join today.